White Privilege Explained: what it is, where it comes from, and why it matters. This video is an in-depth explanation of white privilege. It is not an accusation, and it is not about individual morality. It is about understanding how history, systems, and social structures shape outcomes in ways many people never have to think about. White privilege exists whether someone believes in it or not, and understanding it is a step toward a more honest and effective conversation about equality in America.
What white privilege really means. White privilege does not mean that all white people are rich, have easy lives, or never struggle. It does not mean white people don't work hard. White privilege means that race is not an added obstacle to success for white Americans. It refers to unearned advantages, often invisible to those who have them, that come from being part of the racial group historically treated as the default, normal, or preferred group in American society. Examples include being assumed innocent or non-threatening, seeing people who look like you widely represented in leadership, media, and education, being judged primarily as an individual, not as a representative of a race. Privilege is about probability, not guarantees.
Where white privilege comes from. To understand white privilege, we must look at American history. Key historical foundations: slavery and the legal exclusion of Black Americans from wealth-building Jim Crow laws that enforced segregation and unequal access, government policies that favored white families in housing, education, and employment, immigration laws that prioritized Europeans over non-Europeans. For generations, laws and institutions were designed to help white Americans accumulate land, education, capital, and political power, while excluding others. Even after legal discrimination ended, the advantages built during that time did not disappear. Wealth, access, and opportunity compound over generations. How white privilege continues today. White privilege persists because systems tend to reproduce the conditions they were built under. Modern examples include school funding tied to property taxes, hiring networks based on familiarity and cultural comfort, housing patterns shaped by past segregation, policing practices influenced by racial stereotypes. These systems don't require racist intent to produce unequal outcomes. They function automatically, often benefiting white Americans without any conscious action on their part.
The invisible nature of white privilege. One reason white privilege is hard to accept is because it often feels normal to those who have it. When something works in your favor consistently, it feels earned, natural, or simply the way things are. Privilege often looks like not having to think about race in daily decisions, being able to fail without your race being blamed, trusting institutions to treat you fairly. Privilege is most powerful when it goes unnoticed. How white privilege improves chances of success. White privilege does not guarantee success, but it improves the odds. It can provide fewer barriers when applying for jobs or housing, greater benefit of the doubt from teachers, employers, and police, easier access to mentorship and professional networks, lower stress from navigating racial bias. Over a lifetime, even small advantages add up. One benefit leads to another, creating momentum that others may never get a chance to build. This is why two people with equal talent and effort can have very different outcomes.
What white privilege is not. White privilege is not a personal insult. It is not saying white people didn't earn what they have. It is not denying individual hardship. It simply means that race was not one of the hardships. Recognizing privilege does not erase struggle, it adds context. Why understanding white privilege matters. When people understand white privilege, conversations shift. It allows more accurate discussions about inequality, better policy decisions based on reality, not denial, greater empathy across racial lines, a focus on removing barriers instead of blaming individuals. You cannot fix what you refuse to see.
White privilege is not about guilt, it's about awareness. It explains why inequality can persist even when laws are equal on paper. Understanding it gives us the tools to create a society where success is determined more by effort and ability than by race. Awareness is not blame. Understanding is not weakness. Equity starts with honesty. This video was made for educational purposes and is not intended to insult or harm anyone in any way. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you find this content helpful or informative.